My name is Wang, and I'm the Managing Director at Lufthansa Innovation Hub. And the Lufthansa Innovation Hub is the connector between the startup scene around travel and mobility tech and the Lufthansa Group. And what we focus on is to create new businesses, new digital businesses for the group. Now, why is this relevant? It's because travel is not just about boarding a plane anymore. It's an integrated and multifaceted experience that you do as a traveler from A to B, and you engage in so many different services, like from micromobility to like different sharing options. And so therefore it's really relevant to look at the whole ecosystem and the whole chain. So let me talk about sustainability and how to create a sustainable travel experience. I think this is something that's top of mind of our passengers, our travelers, and also a very relevant public topic. And we tackle it, or we enable it, through three mechanisms. So first of all, we can leverage corporate assets from our Lufthansa Group to tackle this topic together. Our mandate is to create value beyond flying. So I honestly believe that we cannot just tackle it as an isolated company, but it's really all about collaboration within the ecosystem, and we need to tackle such a huge topic together with other travel players and other mobility players. And then last but not least, we're all a bunch of entrepreneurs, really hungry and really ambitious to tackle those big problems of the world. And so we look at sustainability from our entrepreneurial mindset to come up with creative ideas and solutions to really make a difference. I think on various accounts you can see that sustainability has become very important. I mean, for example, sustainable products and services are growing 5.6x faster than unsustainable products. But also we see on our travel side that 7 out of 10 passengers want to travel more sustainably. So of course, as a company, as a travel company, we need to adapt, and we need to offer those type of green options. So I believe, of course, all aviation companies are now looking into different options of modernizing the fleet, coming up with other more sustainable options. But the truth is, and the reality is, that we're probably still a couple of years far from very sustainable assets or infrastructural planes. So because of that, I think in the meantime, digitization and digital products and services can really make a difference when it comes to sustainability. And when I say that, what I mean is, first of all, with digital tools, we can create more awareness and more transparency on each and everyone's carbon footprint. And I think it really starts with awareness to really make changes in behaviors. Second of all, I think digital tools also can allow for example, compensation or reduction of carbon footprint by leveraging climate projects, by offering alternative fuels. Let me tell you a little bit more about Compensate. It's Lufthansa's answer to carbon neutral flying. And it's a technical platform that allows for compensation and for offsetting carbon emission. And we have already worked with various BUs within the group to allow for that. For example, on the traveler side, now travelers can book their tickets with the option to compensate. And so with that, they can opt into a climate project or buy sustainable aviation fuel, and therefore immediately offset the carbon emission that they create through flying. The second example that I have is Lufthansa Cargo, for example. So with DB Schenker together, we had the first carbon neutral cargo flight from Frankfurt to Shanghai last year, actually. Another example I can give you is Miles & More and the Mindful Flyer program, whereby our loyalty members can actually offset with their miles. Last but not least, we are also looking at other use cases. So for example, on the B2B side, we're working with corporate partners and corporate customers and allowing them to also use this technology of Compensate to offset their carbon emission. So Compensate, of course, you can opt into compensating through climate projects. But then also you have the option to offset using sustainable aviation fuel. And that's really special because you have an immediate impact on your carbon footprint that you would generate on that particular route. SAF stands for Sustainable Aviation Fuel. It is synthetic kerosene, and it's won through a secondary process, recycled cooking oil in fact. So just imagine you go down the road to a restaurant and all that oil that is being won there from cooking is being put into this circular economy, if you want, and being recycled, being refined, and then being put into planes. And what it does is essentially to allow for carbon neutrality. It's really interesting and really new because you have an immediate impact on the plane that you just took. And so this is really what makes it very new and innovative. There are always two parts when it comes to anything sustainability or compensation-wise. The first is you have to create awareness and transparency, and we do that by not only including the distance, you know, like you've traveled from Frankfurt to Shanghai, but also we include all the different data points that make the calculation more accurate. So for example, the plane model, the type of engine. And so this is actually an example where we really leverage the corporate relationship we have with the group to make the calculation more exact. So once we have that number, that carbon emission that is created through that plane by this particular individual, then the individual can decide to offset it. And here we can talk about different types of offsetting options, but one of them is sustainable aviation fuel. Because sustainable aviation fuel is such a new concept or new product, a lot of producers don't produce it yet. And how can we actually get more people to produce it? It's, of course, to raise more awareness. A lot of people just don't know about it yet. And I think if people really start to care about it and to really see the value and the impact sustainable aviation fuel can have, we can then have that demand push that allows more producers to produce it. The Lufthansa Innovation Hub it's all about creating value beyond flying, right? So we want to tackle also sustainability beyond flying. And so beyond compensate, we are also considering building a platform for the entire ecosystem. Again, I don't think that travel only can be isolatedly looked at from a flying perspective. I mean, when you go out of your door to go fly somewhere, I mean, you have all these different steps in between. You take a micromobility service, you may take an Uber, etc., etc. And our ambition is really to make this whole trip carbon neutral. And for that, we created this technology interface where other players within the ecosystem can also plug into. And this is really the ambition to create that, you know, carbon neutral world or this carbon neutral travel chain. And that really excites me because I think this is really where I think we can contribute not only to awareness, but really create an impact and a difference. It's one of the biggest challenges to tackle environmental issues and problems. And I think what really excites me about it is the fact that, you know, actually now is the time. I think there's so much awareness. There's so many people now starting to mobilize. And I think it excites me to be able to enable it through our products and services around sustainability. And I think that's great. And I feel very happy about it. And at the same time, I believe it's something we need to tackle together, right? As an industry, as the ecosystem, and we can only do this together to really have real impact. And yeah, and that's why I'm here and talking to you guys today.